Okay, now as we have already discussed about the work function, what was work function? Work function is defined as the minimum amount of energy which is required to pull an electron out from the upper surface of the metal. So now let us proceed towards the effect of potential on the photoelectric current. So in this section, as we have already discussed, first of all uh, we are going to vary potential. Potential is varied, and we are going to fix the frequency. If we are fixing frequency, as I have already discussed, what we are doing, I am using a particular light of bulb. For example, I am using here green light, means source of radiation is fixed, and I am varying intensity. Varying intensity means the bulb I am using is of different power. For example, I am using a 100-watt bulb, a 500-watt bulb, and a 1000-watt bulb. I am using three intensities of the bulb. So what we are going to do in this particular section is, first of all, I am having this uh, uh, evacuated glass tube. In this I am having cathode and anode. So what I am going to do, we already know that this section, this collector plate, is at the positive potential. So we will perform three experiments. First we will put this at positive potential, this collector plate anode. Second, we are going to put it as zero potential. Third, we are going to put it slightly negative. So what do we get if we put this anode at zero potential? We get a fixed amount of photocurrent, a constant photocurrent flowing through this photoanode. And why do we get this constant current? Because we know that this is at zero potential, but we are having a source which is constantly putting light on this, and this from this side some work is done, and the electrons are getting transferred to this anode. So we get a fixed amount of current, because we know that here, because of zero potential, we are having no driving force. So they are coming by themselves, means there is some work done on this cathode, and then electrons are accelerated towards this anode. Then what happens if we put this anode a slightly positive? What happens? The photocurrents increases with increasing potential. Why? the why this happens? See, we know if we try to keep this collector potential slightly positive, what happens that these electrons, as we know that electrons coming from this cathode are negative in charge, and the anode is positively charged, as we have now kept it at positive. So the force of attraction between them, negative and positive, we already know that there is an attractive force between negative potential and positive potential. So the electrons are driven fast towards this anode. So what happens that the photocurrent increases. So that is shown in this section. This as we increase the collector voltage, what happens? Current slightly increases, and after some time it attains a saturation value. Saturation is the maximum current value that is attained by the photons. And then if we put this anode, uh, uh, if we try to give this anode a negative potential value, what happens that we are giving this side now negative voltage, and we know that the electrons coming are already negative. So what happens, there comes a repulsive force in the picture. But as we know that till the energy of the electrons coming from this cathode is more, they will overcome the value, the negative value of the anode, and they will be coming with very slow force. They will be coming, although they will be coming very slowly, but they will be coming. But as we go on in decreasing the value of voltage, what happens that the energy of coming, the highest energy photon, if it comes, then this energy gets minimized, it gets neutralized. And now what happens, if we slightly go on decreasing the value of voltage, there comes a one point that we get no current from this, no current. So hence this is shown that slightly current decreases, and there comes a point that we get no current. So again, if we take a more powerful bulb, then again the same procedure happens. We get a constant value, then current slowly increases, we attain saturation, and if we put the anode at negative potential, the current goes on decreasing, and then we achieve a again we go and achieve a point where we get no current, and again if we increase the power of bulb, the same procedure repeats. So what is this, why we are getting why if we are using different voltage bulb, different power bulb, and we are getting stopping potential, this potential is known as stopping potential. This is known as stopping potential. Why is this happening? This is happening because, as we already know, that even I am taking a 100-watt bulb, that simply means that I am using 100 photons per unit time, and by increasing the power of the bulb, I am simply increasing the number of photons striking the surface of the metal. So, and we also know that and photon energy of one photon is fixed. So what is happening, that one at one time one photon, two photon, that photon, the energy, as we know that energy of photon is fixed. So for a fixed energy of photon, we need a single retarding potential to stop the flow of current. So this is what happening in this experiment. So what do we get as a result of this? We know that if we put the anode at positive, so what happens, that photocurrent increases with increase in potential, and if we put this anode at negative potential, what happens, that photocurrent decreases rapidly it decreases rapidly with falling values of voltage, and there comes a point when it reaches zero value. So now let me discuss something about this cutoff or stopping potential. What is this? This is the negative potential denoted by V naught. What is this? This is the minimum value of potential that is given to plate A, which here is also known as collector plate or anode. So it is the minimum value which is given to this collector plate, so that the value of photocurrent becomes zero. So this is all about this stopping potential. Now we know that as photocurrent becomes zero when V naught is sufficient to deal with the most energetic electron. We also say that the kinetic energy of the electron. So how can we write this equation as kinetic energy of the electron? Maximum kinetic energy of the electron should be E into V naught. And what do we get from this experiment is that first point is that we understood frequency is directly proportional to intensity of light. And the second point is that, which is extracted from here only, what does that say, that current, that is photocurrent, which is also directly proportional to intensity of light. And also in this from this graph we got to know about the stopping potential. What does that mean? There is some minimum amount of energy that is required, that is must for allowing the emission of photoelectrons to take place. So now let us proceed towards the next topic, which is the effect of frequency of incident radiation on stopping potential. So what we are going to discuss in this, first of all, we are going to vary voltage in this section, and we know that as in earlier section this frequency was fixed, now here we are varying frequency and here intensity is fixed. What does this both statement mean? That we are using intensity is fixed means we are using a 200-watt bulb. We are using all the bulbs that we are using of same intensity, 200-watt bulb, 200-watt and 200-watt. We are varying frequency means that we are changing the color of light, we are changing our source. First for example, we are using we can use blue, green and red light. We can use 3 different sources of light. See, frequency of first one is greater than, is less, frequency of second source is more, and then the third is having the most highest frequency. So what we are doing here, again we are doing the same experiment. First of all, we are trying to put anode at zero potential, then positive, and then we are trying to put the anode towards the negative, we are trying to give it a negative potential. So what is happening here, So if we are having one source of light with frequency say mu1, so what happens that if we are putting the voltage on the anode, zero voltage if we are putting at the anode, what happens, we get a constant value of photocurrent. And if we try to increase the value of voltage towards positive side, what happens that it slightly increases and then attains a saturation value. And if we try to decrease the value of the potential at the anode side, what happens, the value of current slightly comes down with the value of voltage, and there comes a point where it becomes zero. That point is V01. And again, if we take another source of light having frequency mu2, what happens, mu2, the frequency of mu2 is greater than the frequency of the earlier source that we have taken. So what happens, first of all we get a constant value of current at 0 volt. Then if we try to increase the voltage, then what happens that the value of current slightly increases, and there comes a point that it becomes saturated. And similarly, if we go towards the negative potential values, what happens with the negative potential, the value of current start decreasing, and there comes a point that it becomes zero at V02. Similarly, we can take the third source and the same thing repeats. Why is this happening? That earlier what we took a single color light, green color light, then the energy of green color photon was was a particular energy of the photon. If we say that I am having 100 green photons, so what does that mean? All the 100 green photons have same energy, but I am talking that one I am having green photon, I am having blue photon, so the energy of the green and blue will be varying. So if there is difference in energy of the photons, then there we will be needing different stopping potential to stop the flow of electrons. So this is what happening in this experiment, that as we are changing the color of light, so we need different amount of we are using different energy photons, so we need different potential to stop the flow of electrons. So what we observe from this experiment is that we observe different values of stopping potential, but we observed same value of saturation current for different frequencies. So the reason I have already discussed. So the more so we can say the more is the stopping potential, higher frequencies of radiation. For higher frequencies of radiation, if we are using higher frequencies of radiation, then we know that is stopping potential, the negative stopping potential is needed more. This is what comes out from this concept. So now let us proceed towards this threshold frequency. What is threshold frequency? This threshold frequency is similar to what we discussed as work function. They are almost similar. So what do we mean by threshold frequency? Threshold frequency, it is the minimum energy or the minimum frequency of photons that can affect an electron from the surface, but this is the minimum energy which is required to bring the electron from the surface to outside the surface. So what happens that in this, as the electron comes out the surface, electron comes out of the surface, but it do not get any velocity, or we can say it do not get any kinetic energy to get some force, driving force, so that it can travel to some distance. No, it doesn't travel to some distance, it just comes out of the surface. This is the minimum energy known as threshold frequency. So now let us understand this threshold frequency using this graph. We have plotted this graph between frequency and current. What happens if I am using an ultraviolet radiation? What is why we are using ultraviolet? See, frequency of ultraviolet region is highest, ultraviolet radiations. So what happens that we are having highest frequency, we are getting some current for this frequency. And if I am using a lower frequency light, for example violet, so what happens, the frequency of the source is less, so I am getting some less current. And then if I am using some sources having lower frequency, I am I am going on decreasing the frequencies of the sources, what happens? With decrease in frequency, I am getting lower current value. So what happens when we get a minimum value, or I am if I am using a very low frequency source, what happens that I will get minimum amount of current. For very low frequency source, I am getting minimum current value. So what is this? So for example, in this graph also it is shown that for yellow light we are getting minimum current. So what does this means? That we need some minimum amount of energy or minimum frequency of radiation to start or to initiate this process. This energy is known as threshold frequency, the minimum frequency below which this process of photoelectric effect is not at all possible. So what is this minimum frequency known as threshold frequency? So now let me discuss something about wave theory. So what does wave theory says? Wave theory says that if we are using light of greater intensity, so what will it result into? It will result into greater fields. Due to this higher intensity of radiation, we will be having a higher amplitude of fields. What is this? As we know that wave is nothing but it is due to the perpendicular arrangement of the fields, electric and magnetic fields. So what happens if we are using greater intensity of radiation, we are in which results in the greater amplitude of electric and magnetic field. Hence what result comes out according to wave theory is that we should have greater energy. So how can we see that? What wave theory says that if I am having intensity higher of any source, it will result into higher fields, which results in higher energy. But according to this photon theory or quantum theory, what we have seen that if we are having higher intensity, then we are having higher energy. But this higher intensity does not depend on the amplitude. It does not depend on the amplitude of fields or amplitude of anything like voltage. We have used here, we have increased the amplitude of voltage or frequency. It does not depend on the field. So what is this wave theory telling us? That if kinetic energy of electrons increases increases, then there is increase in intensity. Also due to increase in intensity, there is increase in energy of the photons. So this concept is not able to explain the threshold frequency of the electrons. This was according to the wave theory. Wave theory could not explain many important points of this photoelectric effect. The first very important point was this threshold frequency, and the second point according to the wave theory was, if we are using same intensity of light, like we have done in the second graph, if we are using same intensity, say what does same intensity means? I am using a 200 watt bulb, 200 watt bulbs, and I am using different frequencies. Different frequencies means I am using different sources, different colors of the sources. Okay, so what we are getting, that we are getting different values of voltage, different energy is needed to stop the flow of current. But what wave theory says that if we are having same intensity and different frequency of the sources, then energy should be different. What wave theory says that energy should be different. We know that this energy should be different, but wave theory says that this energy should be same. Means if we are having same intensity of the light and we are changing the frequency, wave theory mainly focuses on intensity of light. So it says that the energy should be same, but it came out different. So this was also again a failure of wave theory. Then again, the third point, what wave theory says that if the absorption of energy takes place over the entire surface of the wavefront. What is this wave theory? Wave theory mainly talks about wavefront. For example, if I am having a lower wavefront of about from, let us say, from a 100-watt bulb, and if I am using the higher power bulb, so what will it do? It will simply increase the wavefront, increase the amplitude of the wavefront. And if I am using more intense bulb, it will again increase the wavefront of the. So what does this wave theory says, that if I am using this entire wavefront for the absorption, metal will absorb the entire wavefront. It will come, the wavefront will come to the metal surface and it will be absorbed. As we have seen in the photon theory, what happens, that one electron strikes a particular electron, one photon strikes a particular electron. But if we talk in terms of wave theory, what does it say? That we are having a whole wavefront, so it will not strike a particular electron, it will strike the whole surface. And after some time, as the energy is not transferred to a single electron, it is transferred to the whole surface of the metal. So what happens, that after some time it will go on colliding with the surface, and what happens, that the energy is distributed to the whole metal surface. So after some time, large number of electrons, they will be emitted, and it will take time. We are sending many number of photons, and it will take time. After some time, electrons will be emitted. It will take time in absorbing the energy, and after some time these electrons will be emitted. So this is not what happening in this experiment. What is happening, that we are having a particular energy of photon which is striking at the metal surface at a particular point, and it is not taking time. There is no time lag between the striking of photon and emission of electron. This is a spontaneous process. So what happens, immediately the electron is emitted out. When it is emitted out, when the energy of striking photon reaches the threshold frequency, when it overcomes the threshold frequency, it is more than the work function of the electrons, then it is immediately emitted out. So these were the failures of wave theory. This is why we cannot say that the wave theory is completely unsuccessful in explaining all the things. Wave theory is also successful. We cannot say that this is failure of wave theory. This is not failure. This, we can say that this wave theory is inadequate in explaining the photoelectric effect. What we say, that if we talk about wave theory has already explained many successful experiments, like diffraction of light, interference of light, how it was successful in explaining those experiments. But unsuccessful in explaining this photoelectric effect was because that the waves, the medium of traveling waves in those experiments like diffraction and interference were same. The wave was traveling in the same medium, and then it was allowed to pass through a slit. Then it was the work of their amplitudes interfered, and the pattern was observed. See, mainly we can say that it was a single medium where the experiment was going on. But if we talk about this experiment, what is happening in this experiment is that, see, first a wave is coming, a photon is coming, particle of photons, you can say waves are coming, and they are striking a metal surface. See, there is change in the medium. First of all, the wave was traveling in vacuum, then it is striking a metal surface, so the nature of wave changes. So this is what, when the nature of wave changes, then how can it have the properties of wave? It will attain some particle properties also. Why? Because it is striking a particle surface, a material surface it is striking, so it will have some properties of the material. So this is why this property of the wave nature was unsuccessful, was inadequate. I can say it was inadequate to explain the material nature of wave. So I think this was all about photoelectric effect and the failure of wave theory for this photoelectric effect. So thank you.